Hi, I'm Stuart from HiFi Pig, and I'm here at the Bristol HiFi Show 2024 with Karl-Heinz Fink, who many of you will be aware of from Fink Team. We've reviewed the Borg speakers and other speakers that they've made. And Karl-Heinz is a bit of a legend in the speaker building world. And we're here really today to talk about the new speaker, the ES7N from your brand EPOS.
Yep.
I've just had a listen to it, a little bit of electronica, some left field, and I sat just to the side, but it's a very nice sounding speaker, and it's a bigger sounding speaker than it looks. So what's the history behind the speaker?
I mean, we wanted to make a smaller speaker as a real bookshelf. So, the ES14 was on the stand, or you have to use on the stand, and we got people asking, can you not make a loudspeaker that really can be used as a bookshelf? Many of those smaller loudspeakers you have to place a little bit in free air, otherwise they are sounding really dull. And as a designer, you have to decide at the beginning where you're going to use the speaker, because if you do them in free air, you do a completely different voicing than having them on the wall. And by trying different variations, I said, why we don't put a switch in, and a switch that can be, operated depending on whether the loudspeaker is sitting on the wall or is in half free space. And that's the form factor. It really works in a IKEA thing like the Calyx. It's below 30 centimeter. It has the port on the front.
Which is a help.
Yeah, definitely. And it really works. I mean, we tried that out. So, of course, the nicest position is here like this one. But many people who are buying a smaller loudspeakers don't want that. They don't want to have it half a meter away from the back wall. So that's the concept behind this speaker.
And the design is based loosely on a speaker from East Germany at some point?
Yeah, that's true. There was a guy working for me for a short period of time, and he came one day with a loudspeaker and said, can we measure that? And he said, it's an old one from former Eastern Germany. And I said, okay, if you want. Never expecting anything. And then I saw the measurement and said, oh, that looks really interesting. And then I looked into it and I found out that this was an extremely well-engineered loudspeaker from 1983. And if I compare that with what we had in Germany, ECO or Canton in 83, this was a lot better developed. And in fact, this was done by Jochen Kiesler, who is the owner of Musikelektronik Gaitan, nowadays a very famous speaker manufacturer for monitors. And I liked the concept that much that I said, this is a form factor that really works because, we have support on the front. So really something that fits absolutely to what we wanted. And then we made a sort of homage to a loudspeaker that was done 650,000 times in the former Eastern Germany.
So they sold 650,000 pairs of these speakers?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think maybe the most successful we had in Germany.
That's quite a lot of speakers.
Yeah.
And in the UK, the ES7N sells for less than 2,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,890 or something like that.
And it is a beautiful looking speaker. The shape of it reminds me in some ways of the early Wharfedale Diamonds. Obviously it's a bigger speaker, but it's sort of got that feel to it that it looks right. It's not tall, it's quite boxy. It's a really lovely looking speaker. What electronics what did you test it on?
I mean, we tried different ones. I mean, we use in our lab the Solnode electronics, for example, the Kano electronics from Slovakia. These loudspeakers can also work with a tube.
Okay.
Because we do an impedance compensation.
And how sensitive is the speaker?
I think if you are on wall position, it's 89, and in free air, it's 86.
Okay. So not a difficult thing to drive at all?
Not at all. We found a nice system together with some relatively cheap electronics. There's a company called Eversolo,
Okay, yeah.
and they make this nice little streamer, and they now have an amplifier in the same form factor. And I would call this a typical device for younger people, who are used to work with a smartphone. It just operates like a smartphone, so it's nothing to do with a conventional hi-fi. And they work well together. And I asked younger people, and they said, "Yeah, that's exactly what I would like to do."
And is that the market that you see for this speaker, a more lifestyle kind of customer? It's rather than it being your traditional audiophile?
I mean, I'm not sure if audiophiles will take a loudspeaker that is 2,000 euro. They are serious. I definitely can play with all sort of electronics. I mean, we do that with the same kind of method. I mean, we do the double plate cabinet with the glue inside and all the stuff. That's the same in all our loudspeakers. No, but I hope that we will get people who really want a loudspeaker that is not so visible, like, a Borg is a statement. And even an ES14 you can't hide really. So we want to get a new generation of people who are not typical audiophiles, if that is possible.
Of course, yeah. And what colours are available? We've got white here. I've got a wood veneer over there.
That is walnut. We have it in black, and we also have it in orange.
Oh, the orange is very funky.
Yeah, I mean, we had the ES14, we had this green-blue thing, and we said this time we take another color, and I like this orange, and so we did it.
And how has the EPOS brand been welcomed in? Because obviously it's a brand from long ago. Has it been welcomed that it's back again, but it's changed?
Yeah. So when we announced that we bought or that I bought EPOS, we got a lot of positive reactions. So people said, "Hey, great that you're back again." The biggest mistake I made is calling the first loudspeaker ES14, because I got beaten up so badly.
Is that because people were expecting the old speaker?
Yeah, and sorry guys, but in 40 years I learned
Time moves on.
something, and I have very good arguments why we changed it. But too many people thought that 14 is the holy grail, and this one is called 7, and I tried to find out if there was any model 7 or something close to it, and I didn't find anything. I said, great.
That's the one.
And the next bigger one, the floor standard, will be 28.
And when is that likely to be about?
We're trying to have a preview prototype in Munich.
Okay, so that's May, isn't it? The Munich show.
Yeah.
So any plans? I've been to a launch this morning of an English loudspeaker manufacturer. They've taken their existing loudspeakers and made them active. Now, the ES7N looks a perfect candidate to be an active speaker. That kind of fits in with, I think, the whole lifestyle kind of thing. Is there any plans to do that, or?
Yes and no. I mean, I've done many active speakers in the years, and then also all kind of lifestyle, multimedia, and so on. So we know how that works. And of course, having a module on the backside with an amplifier is not rocket science. The problem is that you have to go through certifications around the world, CE in the UK, CA, or America, in China and Japan. So if you do it the professional way, you have to do all those certifications, and that makes it pretty expensive.
Okay.
Saying that, I have a module sitting that I'm recently playing with.
Okay.
I mean, this is an analog loudspeaker, and of course, having a Class AB amplifier with an analog crossover would be the nicest part. But on the other hand, you get really good Class D amplifiers today, and working with a DSP to do the filtering is something we have done 100 times, I must say. So let's see. I will try my very best to come up with something.
And what, away from EPOS, obviously you've got the Fink team speakers as well. Where are we with that? I guess there's something else in the pipeline.
Yeah, sure. So we have this bigger model, the washing machine WM5. And the original plan was to bring it to the high-end show this year. But there are so many others very, very expensive loudspeakers, and honestly speaking, that's not really my world.
Okay.
So we decided to go for something below Kim, a kind of mini Kim, and there we are working on that one now. It's not finished, but we are in the concept phase. But there are some distributors that said, can we have something in this price range, a little bit more conventional? And I said, okay, let's do it.
And if you're watching this and you don't know the Fink team, Kim, we reviewed it, and it's a stonkingly good speaker. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is selling very well. So, I mean, when I came up with a loudspeaker, everybody said, oh, you're never going to sell that, this is so low, and, you have a stand. But the reason was that we wanted to have a loudspeaker that is below that level. So it's, it's not really looking out of the rest of the chairs and tables. And that seems to work very well.
It's a very good speaker. I love my time with them, well, as you know. So in the UK, your distributor is Cog Audio.
Yep.
I've heard the EPOS ES N7 with T plus A amplification and I think Tellurium Q cables, and it just sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah, we spent a little bit of time yesterday to tune, to balance everything. I mean, most people think you just hammer together the most expensive or best stuff, and then you get a good sounding one. No, unfortunately, It's not. So it's getting the balance right and find the components that work together.
And what do you think of the Bristol show?
I mean, I've been here many, many times. So, I mean, it's not an international show. It's a very local show. And most of the people that I see outside I've seen already 10 times here. But I still like it. It's this kind of funny atmosphere that only the Bristol show can give you.
Very much so. It's one of my favourite shows. I think the Northwest show in Cranage that Chris does, is a great show as well. But Bristol has something really special about it. It's got that, everybody's completely mad for it here, and it's just so busy. For Friday you expect it to be a little quieter, but it's been absolute chaos today, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've seen the queue outside
Yeah.
in the morning. No, we really had, I mean, in the morning it was a bit slow because it takes time before all of them walk upstairs, but then it was really full.
And have you had feedback from potential customers about the new speakers? And
yeah, I'm not the one to say, hey, these are great speakers, but the guys from Cog said there was a very, very good positive reaction. So.
Excellent. Okay, Karl-Heinz, as always, thank you ever so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you.
We'll see you again, I guess, in Munich.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.